Hi everyone, so this week we're going to be talking through some snack alternatives, so hopefully give you some ideas of things that you can add into your diet to help improve your nutrition throughout the day. Okay, so this first slide just gives a few different types of snacks that people might be accustomed to during their day and some alternatives that we can have a look at. So the first one, which is a bit of a go-to for myself, but some Ben & Jerry's ice cream. So a lot of people might feel a little bit peckish after their meal, or they feel like they might want to treat themselves. But as you can see, Ben & Jerry's is quite high on the calorie intake. So there is a good alternative for that, which is called Halo Top, which is relatively new. I'm not endorsed by these, by the way, at all, but they do offer obviously a lot better nutrition as an alternative compared to Ben & Jerry's. As you can see, when we compare 100 mils of both of these, obviously the Halo Top is significantly lower in sugar, so it's 6 grams compared to 22. They both have similar amounts of protein in them, but again, as you can see, the saturated fat is significantly lower at 1 gram compared to 8 grams. And because of this additional fat and additional sugar, that's what's shooting the calories up. And you've got a calorie difference there of 235 to 76 on just on that portion. So again, still giving you that sweet kind of craving that you might want after your meal, but a significantly lower calorie intake. Next up, we have a Kit Kat. So this could be any type of chocolate bar, really. Some people might be used to having a little chocolate bar every day, whereas if we can take that out of our diet, we might be able to save some calories. But rather than just completely stripping it out and saying that we shouldn't eat these certain foods, we can probably replace it with something slightly better. So as you can see, we've got the Snacker Jacks there. These are the large Snacker Jacks that come in the big packet. Again, if you had 2 of these Snacker Jacks, that would be an equivalent amount of calories, so around 100 calories, but you would feel like you're a little bit more satisfied because the volume of what you're eating is obviously a lot larger. Also, the benefits of that as well is going to be a lot lower in saturated fat. As you can see, 3 grams compared to 0.1. It's going to be a lot lower in sugar, so it's going to stop that sugar spike and those cravings later on throughout the day. And again, like I said, it's just going to make you feel a little bit more satisfied. And although it's a similar calorie amount, it just offers better nutrition and macronutrients to help keep you fuller for longer and stop any sugar cravings later on in the day. And finally, just looking at a standard packet of crisps. So there's an example of Walker's crisps there compared to something like lentil chips. So there's a lot of different ones out there now. There's lentil chips and hummus chips, but obviously these are made out of lentils and hummus rather than potatoes. And they just come with slightly more benefits than your stereotypical packet of crisps. So as you can see, they're slightly lower on the calories, so 132 calories compared to 96. Similar-ish on protein, they are a little bit higher, and similar-ish on the saturated fat. But just as you can see there, you're going to be saving sort of 30 to 40 calories per packet. And if you do have crisps with your lunch or throughout the day, over that week, it's going to make quite a significant difference. So although it only seems like a small amount, if you do make these small changes every day for a long period of time, it's going to make quite a big difference. So moving on to yogurts, which could be used or eaten for breakfast or maybe mid-afternoon as a bit of a snack. The main thing I want to highlight here is that Onken yogurt at the top is advertised as 0% fat. So a lot of people will select this as a yogurt because they can see in big writing that it says 0% fat, which means that it's got to be the healthier option. However, as you can see, because the fat is really low in this, they've actually increased the sugar quantity. So the sugar ends up being quite high. So we can actually compare 100 ml of the Onken compared to 100 ml of Icelandic skier yogurt, and the macronutrients are significantly better on the skier. So as you can see, it's lower in sugar, so it's got nearly 5 grams less sugar in. It has double the amount of protein, so that's going to help make you feel a little bit fuller for longer and have other benefits for muscle repair as well. Similar on the fat, obviously they're both got pretty much no fat in, and similar on the calories. But as you can see, they're both low in calories, but the Onken yogurt will have a lot higher sugar levels, which will then give you that kind of sugar spike and sugar crash, and you might feel then you're going to get these kind of hunger pangs a little bit later on. So reducing the sugar, more protein to help make you feel fuller for longer. So the skier has a lot more benefits to it, so that's worth checking out. We've also included the Nature Valley bars in here as well. So at the top is just a granola bar. So obviously that's made out of oats, but typically there'll be some sort of sugars to try and hold those oats together. And then underneath we have a nut and chocolate bar. So again, you might look at that and think, no, that's the unhealthy option. It's got chocolate in it, it's got nuts in it. But when actually we compare the two bars together, they come out quite differently in their macronutrients. So as you can see, they're both very similar in calories, 192 to 198. But the granola bar is significantly higher in sugar, so it's nearly double. So again, that's going to give us that bit of a sugar spike, and we might get a bit of a sugar crash. So that's going to make us feel a little bit peckish later on in the day. The protein in the nut bar is obviously a lot higher because of the nuts in it. So it's got 10 grams of protein in compared to 3. So again, that's going to help us feel a little bit fuller for longer. And obviously, as you can see there, the saturated fat is higher on the protein version of the bar, so the nut bar, but that is because the nuts are in there. But that should also come with a good amount of healthy fats in there as well because of the nuts. So for the same amount of calories, you're getting some healthy fats, you're getting a lot more protein and a lot less sugar. So that's definitely worth considering as well. And then finally, just a couple of options to possibly have in the fridge if you're feeling a bit peckish. So we've spoken through hummus, but just to have a little look at the macronutrients there, a small 70-gram pot, really low in sugar, so there's basically no sugar in it. It's got a good amount of protein in there, so 4 grams of protein. It's low in fat, low in calories at 118 calories. You could have this with some carrot sticks or cucumber, which again is really low in calorie, and it's going to give you some vitamins, minerals and fiber as well. And that would be a good snack. Again, low in sugar, it's not going to give you that spike, so it's going to help you fill you up for the rest of the day. And then also fat-free cottage cheese as well, really good macronutrients with this one. As you can see, really low in calories, so only 46 calories in the 75-gram portion. You got a whacking 7.6 grams of protein in there, so it's really high on the protein. Low fat, low sugar. So again, just a really good alternative to have as a snack, just to tire you out between those meals. And finally, these key points just reiterate what we've been talking through for the first 6 weeks and also some of the points that we've spoken through today. But as you can see, some of the snacks were quite similar in calorie value, but the macronutrients, what they're made up of, are significantly better in some versions compared to others. So we want to be aiming for higher protein. That's going to increase our feelings of fullness, help with muscle repair, and also try and aim for lower sugars because that's going to help reduce our cravings throughout the day. Make sure we keep hydrated. Again, we might not actually be hungry, we might be thirsty. You could also try having a drink before your meal as well, which will help increase feelings of fullness. If you do fancy something sweet, try a piece of fruit for some natural sugars rather than going for the chocolate bars and sweets and that type of stuff. And again, we spoke through this last week, but making sure you're filling your plate with salad and vegetables. It's going to increase your vitamins, minerals, fiber for good gut health. And also it's going to help increase those feelings of fullness too. And just a little thing to consider, if you do drink a lot of tea or coffee with milk and sugar, could you maybe try a skimmed milk or a milk alternative just to reduce that calorie intake throughout the day and possibly swap your sugar for some sweeteners. Thanks again for joining me, guys. And then next week, we're going to be looking at the benefits of vitamins and minerals and what types of vitamins and minerals we should be looking at, and also what types of foods we can get these from.